Thank you, Madam Chair, members, for the opportunity to lay out Senate Bill 442, which is Senator Hughes' bill, and I'm doing this on behalf of Chairman Dutton, who had a conflict this morning. Senate Bill 442 relates to the school health advisory councils and provides for notice postings of the meetings, video recordings, preparation of minutes, to provide as much transparency as possible in an area that's been highly criticized for being somewhat closed. And I'd just like to comment, I also serve on the Public Education Committee, and for some reason, we had a similar bill in public education. Why one bill went to public education and this bill came here, and Chairman Dutton has an identical bill to Senate Bill 442, but regardless, the bill in public education was subject to the Open Meetings Act. This bill falls short of that, which I think is a positive because at Public Education Committee layout and discussion, there was some strong criticism and discussion about the additional, maybe unintended consequences by subjecting this council to the Open Meetings Act and some of the ramifications of that may be a deterrent to getting people to serve. Senate Bill 442 does not require full compliance with the Open Meetings Act, but provides for the transparency that is so important by 72 hours notice of the meetings, recordings of the meetings, minutes prepared, and postings on the district's website of any information concerning the council. So with that, I'll try to answer any questions, but would request favorable action on this important bill.
Members, do you have a question for Representative Allison? All righty, I guess we'll begin our public testimony and reserve your right to close. The chair calls Lori Kuykendall. And it says here that your name is Lori Kuykendall.
It's Kirkendall, yes.
Kuykendall, okay. And you're president and CEO with the Medical Institute for Sexual Health, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you are testifying for the bill.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to testify on this important bill. We are a national science-based public health research and education organization founded here in Austin in 1992. I previously worked with Aim for Success, which is the largest provider of sex education programs in the state. Over the last 25 years, I've worked with probably over 50 different school health advisory councils, and I am in full support of this important piece of legislation. SB 442 amends the Education Code and clarifies how SHACs should be conducted to ensure that they more effectively fulfill their original intended purpose, which was to reflect the local community values in health education. I do think this is a public health matter, as 5 million students will receive this important information in health. The 6 strands of health included in health education is passed by the State Board of Education. So I just wanted to highlight several key points to this important bill. First, the timing of this is critical. So you may be aware that the State Board of Education spent 18 months this past year updating, reviewing the health TEKS. They were adopted in November for the first time in 20 years. So given the new extended content in the health TEKS, all SHACs will need to review and make curriculum recommendations this year so that their curriculum in health complies with the Education Code, meets all the new TEKS, and then most importantly, reflects the values of the local community. My second point is that this bill adds several layers of transparency and accountability to SHACs to ensure that parents and the public can be aware of and participate in their proceedings in the same manner as the school boards to whom they serve. Some have argued that this increased transparency will inhibit participation of volunteers, but I think the personal and sensitive nature of health topics and potential for conflict or debate outweigh this challenge, and I think the level of responsibility and accountability are inherent to the role. My third point is that this bill should be of importance to all parents and community stakeholders, no matter their position on human sexuality instruction or on other health topics, because it ensures transparency and clarifies the importance of local participation. And lastly, where shacks are already functioning in an open manner, in compliance with the original language, this proposed bill will not change their procedures. Unfortunately, many shacks do not function according to the stipulations in this code and are not functioning at this level of transparency. So this bill would provide further guidance to ensure that they do so. Thank you.
Members, any questions for the witness? Representative Swainer.
I appreciate the aim of transparency, but do you have concerns with some of the very sensitive nature of conversations that shacks have, particularly regarding issues like self-harm or threats against the school? I mean, those are issues they discuss as well.
Yes, absolutely. And it's because of the concern of the sensitive content that I think transparency is important, that the meetings would be conducted in a professional manner. Confidentiality and privacy would absolutely still be upheld in those conversations related to individual students or situations. But I think the content is sensitive and often values-based and controversial and should be intended to have that full local participation and involvement at all levels, making those recommendations to the school board.
I mean, I guess what I'm trying to get at is how do we have a full local conversation around, you know, a student who attempted suicide? I mean, if that was my kid, I would want as much privacy around that as possible. And I understand the way the shacks have those conversations now is anonymized, but I think we also know that stories spread in
Sure.
small communities.
Well, I think the purpose of the shack is curriculum selection and review and recommendations to the school board. So I think when there's an individual counseling or health situation that's more focused on an individual, that really isn't the purpose of the shack. The shack is to review and make those curriculum recommendations on up to the school board.
I mean, but they do more than that, don't they? I mean, I know that's one component, but they're
Right.
also looking at safety and health across the board, not just in terms of curriculum, which does involve discussing these really, again, very sensitive issues. They're not providing individual counseling, but they're taking lessons from self-harm situations, from threat situations, and trying to apply those across the school district. So, I mean, is there a space to give them some of that privacy? Or not privacy, but that discretion to have some of these conversations more privately?
Well, I think it goes back to the original intent in 28004, the Education Code, which this bill is attempting to amend, that there are pieces of the focus was to call together for the school board to convene the shack to review the curriculum and make those curriculum recommendations. So I guess I know there are discussions around those topics. You can see the list of topics in the Education Code. They're nutrition and mental health and suicide, and I've heard shacks take up concussion and what's in the vending machines in the cafeteria. But I think in terms of sensitive individual scenarios, I don't think that's the purpose of the shack as much as the curriculum recommendations that are stipulated here in the bill.
So does this bill narrow the scope of what shacks are able to work on?
I don't think so. I think it adds clarification about notification of meetings. You know, the 72 hours is listed in there, and then that the public notice is given, the public is allowed to attend. And again, I would make the point that it is the same under which the school boards they serve. So it is inherent in the role of the advisory committee to be open and transparent as the school boards they serve. There's a couple of other committees and actually that have the full open meeting governments on them. There's an advisory committee on EpiPens, a continuing advisory committee, school safety and security committee that have this kind of stipulation as well.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate your testimony. I'm still concerned, especially since so many of these shacks, did predate the legislation to mandate them across the state. And I hope we don't take their ability to work on some of these sensitive issues, like suicide, which, as you mentioned, mental health is in the code around them. So thank you for being here.
Yes, shacks were first implemented in 1995. They've been amended several times since then. You'll see that if you look in the back of the packet I provided where all the dates, where there's been some amendings, but they were first created in 1995. And then again, as I mentioned, the school board, State Board of Education has a whole new set, more extensive health TEKS that will need to be reviewed this year. So the timing is really important that this get in place to clarify the function and capability of the shacks in all 1,000 school districts in the state.
Thank you.
Other questions, members? Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair calls Ilan Wang. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
You sure did. Thank you so much.
And you're representing yourself?
And Concerned Women for America. I'm sorry,
Okay.
I was in a rush and didn't.
All you entered into the kiosk was self. Is it okay if we
Sure.
add Concerned
That's
Women for
fine.
America into your form? And you're for the bill, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. Please proceed.
thank you. So Chairwoman Click and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify in favor of Senate Bill 442, a School Health Advisory Council Transparency and Accountability Bill. My name is Ilan Huang. I am a Texas certified teacher and a mother, speaking on behalf of Concerned Women for America. Senate Bill 442 supports transparency in the education process by requiring advance notice of meetings, recording of meeting minutes, public meetings to discuss potential human sexuality materials, and public availability of these materials. Texas law requires every school district to have a School Health Advisory Council, or SHAC, to assist the district in ensuring that local community values are reflected in the district's health education instruction, and local school boards are required to consider the recommendations of the council before changing the district's health education curriculum or instruction. Because the SHAC's purpose is to assist the Board of Trustees who, as the elected representatives, are accountable to the citizens of the district, members of a SHAC serve a great purpose. Currently, parents have limited access to SHAC business and health education changes where only summary information is provided regarding human sexuality instruction. As a teacher with no children of my own for the first 8 years of my career, I did not understand the importance of parents being informed on what was taught and how it was taught. I made a naive assumption that parents should trust me, as I had a degree in education and was trained on how to be a good teacher. But now, as a mother of 5, having homeschooled them for a few years, picking carefully their curriculum, I understand the importance of partnering with parents to provide the best curriculum and instruction for their children. Returning back to the classroom part-time for 3 years, I was not afraid to partner with my students' parents. Instead, I welcomed their input as I shared with them the curriculum and expectations, knowing they knew their children better than I. The partnership I had with the parents gave me much joy. How much more should SHACs and school boards partner with parents on the sensitive, in my opinion, very private topic of human sexuality instruction? And so I'm thankful 442 does just that. The bill requires SHACs to give the date, hour, place, and subject of their meeting so that the public can attend and provide feedback. For those unable to attend, minutes are to be kept with either an audio or video recording. The Board of Trustees must hold at least 2 public meetings with opportunity for public comment on the human sexuality instruction materials before adopting the SHAC's recommendations. Thankfully, this bill also requires the school district to make available the sex education materials proposed. Senate Bill 442 helps school districts better serve parents by ensuring community values are considered and by deterring graphic and inappropriate materials in the curriculum. Please support parents' right to know what their children are being taught and the opportunity to participate in the process. Please vote in favor of Senate Bill 442 to partner with parents in protecting their children. Thank you. It's been an honor.
Questions, members? Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Chair calls Deborah Simmons. Your name is Deborah Simmons, is that correct?
Yes,
And you're representing yourself and you're for the bill?
I am.
Thank you very much. Please
Thank you.
proceed.
My name is Deborah Simmons. I'm an individual here for Senate Bill 442. Senate Bill 442 is essential to provide transparency, protect parental rights, ensure parents are fully informed about their children's health education, and ensure that community values are represented. This is the intent of Texas Education Code 28.004 that established school health advisory councils, also known as SHACs, for local school districts in 1995. Senate Bill 442 will close loopholes and provide for a more open process that adheres to the intent of the law. This session, 5 legislators have filed 4 unique bills to solve ongoing problems, including a limited grievance policy and transparency issues with SHAC business, curriculum, and curriculum adoption. 3 of the bills have passed the Senate. Senate Bill 442 is unique. As a refile from 2019 and similar to a House-originated bill in 2017 and 2019, it seeks to solve most of the issues around SHACs, and Senator Hughes worked diligently to overcome concerns with amendments to accomplish the intent of the bill with minimal unintended consequences. The grievance provision would be extended to the entire section of code rather than only providing recourse for subsection I. By requiring meeting notices to be posted and minutes to be taken, SHACs would provide more transparency to the public. Clarifying requirements for curriculum transparency will help parents to discern the appropriateness of programs for their children. Processes for curriculum adoption would provide opportunities for citizens to participate in the discernment of programs for their school district. SHACs assist the district in ensuring that local community values are reflected in the district's health education instruction. This is an important council in each district doing important work. Last year, the State Board of Education adopted new Health Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills Standards, also known as TEKS, as part of Proclamation 2022. With 617 student expectations across 24 topics for kindergarten through 12th grade, the student expectations are sorted into 6 strands, including physical health and hygiene, mental health and wellness, healthy eating and physical activity, injury and violence prevention and safety, alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, and reproductive and sexual health. Parents deserve full and fair disclosure of the health curriculum, especially as the new health TEKS are implemented. Thank you.
Questions, members? Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Chair calls Julia Grizzard. I have your name is Julia Grizzard, and that you are the Executive Director of the Bexar County Education Coalition. You're representing them and yourself?
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
correct?
Yes.
And you're against the bill?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please proceed.
Absolutely. My name is Julia Grizzard. As stated, I'm the Executive Director of the Bexar County Education Coalition, testifying against the bill. As background, Bexar County Education Coalition represents 16 Bexar County area districts that serve 360,000 children. Our districts range in size from 1,000 to 100,000, and we are rural, suburban, fast growth, recapture, and military ISDs. We also represent all of Representative Campos and Representative Allison's districts. And we greatly appreciate the work that Senator Hughes has already done on this bill. But we hope in partnership with this committee, we can develop a bill that addresses the concerns of parents and places the responsibility of public accountability on the Board of Trustees. We want to emphasize that our districts firmly believe that transparency for parents and families is essential. Several of our districts have recruited members from throughout their community to ensure all viewpoints are represented, while other districts regularly do post their meetings and minutes when they occur and the agenda for the meeting. We believe that these are good practices and should be the responsibility of all districts across the state, as stated in the bill. We know that districts can do more. to ensure that action is taken on sensitive curricular topics that are available for public comment. However, we believe that the appropriate forum for that feedback is with the Board of Trustees, a group of elected officials trained in Open Meetings Act regulations, similar to the requirements of the bill, prepared to stream and record meetings, as well as equipped to take all public comment. Most importantly, the Board of Trustees is the body that is tasked with making these decisions. They make those final decisions for curriculum for students and for the community and can be held accountable at the ballot box. Our SHAC members cannot, as they are a volunteer advisory group that has no authority to make the final decision over curriculum. Instead of what is directed in the bill, we suggested and have suggested to the bill author as well as to the sponsor, mandating that the Board of Trustees treat any change to health curriculum such as human sexuality in a similar fashion to how they treat the Digits budgetary process. This would mandate that curricular decisions are read and reviewed at least twice before any official action or vote can be taken by the board, giving significant time for public comment and participation. And we want to emphasize again that providing transparency and to our families is vital. We know that we can do more work there, and we appreciate the standardization of the SHAC code. And we believe that we can accomplish this goal by mandating our Board of Trustees ensure the public can adequately participate in the evaluation process. Thank you for the time today, and I'll take any questions if there are any.
Questions, members? Representative Snyder.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you for being here. I've never served on a Student Health Advisory Council, but a lot of my current members and my former members of Student Health Advisory Councils have been sending me a lot of text messages yesterday and today about this bill.
Yeah.
I mean, can you talk about the full scope of the SHAC's work? Because one of the concerns I'm hearing a lot is that this is focused on one of the duties that the
Right.
SHAC takes up
Right.
every several years.
Right.
Instead of what they do more on a routine
Regularly, yeah.
basis.
Yeah, so you were describing the SHAC's responsibilities earlier very accurately, that it is responsible for things like suicide prevention, mental health and awareness, not only just for students, but also for teachers in the entire community. It does make decisions around nutritional services. There is, as was earlier stated, a long list of responsibilities that the School Health Advisory Council does take on. We believe that this is one of those elements in it, and it really is a vital year to ensure that our SHACs are well attended, that they do have community members feeling comfortable to participate, because we are taking on new health code, but they do cover a wide range of topics that expand well beyond just sexual health and the health curriculum.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other questions, members? Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to testify on or against Senate Bill 442? Chair recognizes Representative Allison to close.
Thank you, Chair Clerk, members. I'll be brief, but I think we can't lose sight of the fact that this is just a format to assist in the development of the curriculum, and it takes nothing away from the school board to make that absolute final decision. And there's so much involved in the health curriculum. It's not just human sexuality, but although that's an important piece currently. But this bill provides more transparency, opportunity for public involvement without having to go to the strict compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. So I think it takes us in a positive position for availability to school districts as they choose. With that, I'll close.
Thank you.
Chairwoman, may I ask a quick question?
Representative Swainer.
No, I just, thank you, Representative Allison. One of the concerns I'm hearing from one of my former SHAC members that I'm not seeing in the bill is does this bill in any way limit the total number of members that can be on the SHAC, or could school board still choose to go above the 5 members?
No, I don't see anything in this
Okay.
bill that limits the number. I think that's left up to the school board to determine what the makeup of that committee might be.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All righty.